What up, Mystical? Good evening. How you doing? Good video earlier. You liked it? Thank you, Mystical. I was like, I wonder if Mystical saw it because you always comment, which I love, by the way. I appreciate you for that. What up, Statter Tots? What was that? Oh, it's Tater Tots. GG's Tater Tots. Yo, that's dope. You just did my 21-day SP meditation. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Mystical in the house. Yeah, I was doing a membership like live, and they're like, "Hey, you might as well just go ahead and do a public one because there was like not that many people that show up." I think because I do like the membership calls on the school community I'm a part of, that people just for the most part are pretty content. From New Zealand, I'm the queen of manifesting even amongst torture. Well, that's good to hear. That is very good to hear. Queen of manifestation. Yeah, it's my second day doing it or so far. Do you feel like it helps you like get into the wish fulfilled? I am going to do another meditation here soon. I've been really busy with collabs and doing a lot of like coaching and such. So I haven't had that much time, but I am going to start working on the meditations here pretty soon. What up, Nora? I've been thinking about what you said. We have to fully be shifted in the state. Yeah. Yeah, that's the point behind it. That's the point behind the techniques, right? Is to put you into the state of having it, because then your thoughts and emotions and actions automatically align with it. What we actually want is the state of being, not the thing. The thing is just icing on top, cherry on top. Jamarian, how does one begin to feel chosen? Well, Jamarian, I do have a lot of videos of this. Like this is one of the things I do my best to give people, insights and help them create things. But a lot of this comes down to just repetition, hearing the information over and over again, hearing that you're the cause over and over again, practicing filling your imagination, practicing feeling when you're in a state and when you're not in a state, becoming aware of your inner world. The more that you do that, the more that this will become like second nature to you. It's just going to happen through repetition. It's like doing anything. The more that you do it, the better you can get at it. The more that you imagine, the better you get at imagining. The more that you ask yourself, what does the feeling feel like? The easier it'll be for you to be in the feeling. The more that you do mental diets, the easier it'll be for you to control your mind. But to answer your question specifically, my favorite way is to simply just imagine that you are chosen. Imagine a scene that implies that you are chosen now, and sit there until you catch a mood. And that is what it feels like to be chosen, that mood that happens to you, that comes upon you. Tater tots. Yeah, but I've also been doing better and sitting in the wish fulfilled in general regards to my SP. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. Do you think when thoughts opposite comes up, it can ruin it, Joseph? We observe it, or do you suggest visualizing right away? I don't think thoughts really in of themselves do too much, right? Like it's when we let thoughts move us internally, that's where it's problematic. And it's the same thing with the other way too. When we're wanting to create something that we love, thoughts don't necessarily do anything unless they actually move us. That's like what really matters behind manifestation. You're being inwardly moved that it is that way now. Mina just watched a collab with Matthew. Really like the way of thought flipping with remember when. I've already done it with something that was giving me anxiety. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard Neville talk about that before, and I've heard a couple other coaches that talked about it, but I personally never really made it one of my regular practices. So it was cool to hear his idea on it because I agree. I think it's like a really good idea. It's a really, really good idea. It was cool doing it with Matthew. Like the first time I was manifesting my wife, he was making videos and I was watching him and I was watching manifesting with Kimberly, I think is her name. Blonde lady. I'd watch a lot of her videos too, which I liked. I'm trying to think of who else did I watch. Joseph Rodriguez, of course. I know Matthew has a service where he offers to manifest directly for people. What are your thoughts on that? He can for sure. I know in my own experience, I can manifest for people. I've done it a bunch. The thing is, though, that like why I'm not really typically like a big fan of it is because I can either teach people how to fish or I can give them a fish. And manifesting for somebody is just kind of giving them a fish. And it's good for like the manifestation, but then going forward, the person still doesn't know how to fish. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he absolutely can. Like Neville manifested for people all the time. I manifest for people all the time. Doing thought flipping any other way just feels like drawing attention to the problem. I remember when lets you address the problem in a productive and I agree. I agree with you completely. I think it's very awesome and it's very like it complements the reasoning mind very nicely too. So that you're not having the opposing like it feels real to you to do it. Yeah, that's like his favorite technique. Once automatic thoughts from the end come up frequently, that's our tell we fully shifted, right, Joseph? Yeah. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your emotions all come from the state that you're occupying. Whatever your default state of being is, or whatever state that you're in, you'll have natural thoughts, emotions, actions from that state. And you can always tell when you shift states because you'll start thinking differently. You start feeling differently, right? Like you'll be in the state of having a loving relationship and then you'll be content. And you will think, if you do think about your person, you'll think of how much your person loves you. And then maybe an hour later, you go back to wanting a loving relationship, which means that your state changed. Now you're seeing the world differently. Now you have different emotions. Notice how you went from content, happy, feeling loved to all of a sudden sadness, suffering, desiring, lacking with different thoughts. Your state changed. That's all it is. My mental diet is intact and I feel cool, calm, and relaxed, but I'm not seeing any movement. It has been like this for a while. Thoughts? Jamar, I would have to have more of a conversation with you, right? Because like there's so many different like okay, so I'll give you an example. People will say, Joseph, am I in the Sabbath? Well, there's several things that look like the Sabbath. There's times where you're frustrated with manifesting your person, where you don't want to think about them anymore. People will think that this is the Sabbath. There's times where the person is so hurt or doesn't want to be around the person anymore. People think that this is the Sabbath. There's times where um, people are burnt out and they'll think that this is the Sabbath. But you can tell by what state you're in from just paying attention internally within you. Like you can tell, do I feel like I have this manifestation? And if you do feel like you have the manifestation, it's more of a you feel good about it. You know that it's yours. Versus frustration is just like screw that person. I don't want to think about it anymore. So it really kind of just depends. Like what do you mean by feeling relaxed? Because I think a lot of people think relaxed means that they're in the wish fulfilled, but after working with thousands of people, I can tell you most of the time that's not what it actually is. What it is that they consciously told themselves that they're okay or that they're doing things that are done a certain way, but in reality, it's not. So, like, My thing is behind this is there's, like, really only one way to build a fire, right? Like, I need wood, and I need pine tree leaves, and I need a lighter. And what I feel like people end up doing is adding in all these other variables and all these other things and etcetera into manifesting when it's just simply who you're being in secret is what you express outside of you. These are the only things that aren't debatable. People will debate with me all the time. No affirmation, Joseph, affirmations are great. If that's your experience, it's wonderful. Or they'll tell me visualization is the way to do it. Or they'll tell me that like revision's the way to do it. That's debatable. I can't really say one way or another. That's not a definite thing. Sure, affirmations do work for some people. It's subjective. Most of the time it doesn't, but some of the times it does. But what is undebatable is that your state of being is what creates your reality. This is not up for debate. There is no other possibility because life is you in every way, shape, and form. It is that way universally for everybody. There is no two ways about this. When I change my state of being, which this may appear as the time frame. I've talked about this before is like when I assume that I'm in a loving relationship with my wife, in that moment I am. Now, I may appear in the 3D reality in this avatar for me to go through several series of events that brings me to the fruition of manifesting my wife. But it happened the moment that I felt as though I was in a loving relationship. Now, it's what started the bridge of incidences that brought everything to fruition that needed to happen. Anything that internally needed to come up in me comes up automatically. Anything that needed to change in them changes automatically. If my identity needs to change, it changes automatically. Everything changes automatically for me assuming that I am now in the loving relationship with my wife. Now, did that mean that it happened within a day or two? No. It took 3 months, 2.5 months, etcetera. It takes what it takes. Look at Neville's brother, Victor. It took him 2 years to manifest his business. Was he not in the wish fulfilled originally? Yes, he was. Why 2 years then? Because he needed to change who he was being, right? He needed to release stuff that was I'll give you an example. So I've been manifesting. I'm the top YouTuber and content creator and all these things. I know that it's mine because the desire is so intense. I know the Father wants to experience it through me. Okay, I surrender to it. I feel as though I am it. Now I am it. There's stuff that's been coming up from from like my childhood when I felt very insecure and I felt very hurt and I felt alone and I was dying for approval and validation. All this sad, disempowering feelings of coming up. Well, why? Because if I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to be speaking my truth, chances are I'm going to disagree with people. If I'm having that type of energy that I used to identify with when I was young, could I be doing that? When I see these super entrepreneurs, do they have any signs of insecurity? Are they speaking their truth blatantly without any concern at all of what anybody has to say about anything? Well, it's the latter. So I needed to release some of this stuff, some of this insecurity that was there from when I was a child. I haven't even thought about it because it hasn't been needed for any of the bridge of incidences I was doing until now. And so I felt as though I am this person. I act as though I am this person, and then all of a sudden, this stuff comes up that I haven't felt for years. I completely forgot about it, but I remember being a child and feeling this energy that's now coming up now in my body. It's needed because as I release that, guess what will take over? The confident self-belief, embodying the state. That's what will arise as a result of it. So oftentimes when we feel as though we're in a loving relationship now, you are in it now. And then you may go through a series of events, which includes releasing things that no longer serve you, which includes releasing untrue beliefs or some states you embodied when you were younger, something like this. You release it, and then you're in the state, and then your manifestation flows. What I feel relaxed with when I change my affirmation to I'm certain and I know, I dropped my affirmations and I affirmations and I did this. Zedric, it could be because you're accepting the end is true now, right? Like it literally can be that simple. It can be that simple. I guess the biggest indicator of it for me is that um when I'm in this state, I'm no longer concerned with wanting to get outside proof or validation. That really only happens whenever I don't feel like I'm in it. Like when I first started like a year ago of assuming that I was the best, there was things that I had to go through. I wasn't confident enough to do it. I was still like, "Oh, there's these people that are better content creators. Oh, there's these people that are doing this. Oh, there's well, I'm scared people are gonna hurt my feelings. I'm scared people are gonna all this stuff." I couldn't be that person at that time, right? So then I went through a series of events that helped me realize like nobody even exists in my reality anyways besides me. And only the people I give power to have the ability to have power over me. If I don't assume that they have they're like better than I am, they won't appear that way. So I guess you kind of have to you have to gauge like are you like do you really feel like you embody that? Are you seeing the world from the perspective of already being that person? What if you see your SP every day for almost all day? How do you act with them and not react? Sometimes it's hard not to look for things on how they act, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it is challenging. I've worked with a lot of people that either they're in a relationship with this person, they have kids together, so they see them on a regular basis, or they work with them, or they live next door to each other coincidentally. And it is a thing where it's like, yeah, it's you're blessed with the opportunity where you get more repetitions to deny your senses and to feel as though you're in a loving relationship now. That's really all you can do too, right? Is find the opportunity in everything. Find how it benefits you. Find how you become better as a result of this situation because that's really what life is for. Life is to make you better. It's to help you move you near your heart's desire. Everyone's heart desire is to be, a manifesting animal like Neville Goddard. So sometimes what that takes is that I go through some things in order to remove parts of me that no longer serve me. Mystical, I saw Matt said he did it up until the day he got his SP in your video too. Yeah. Yeah, that's happened for a lot of people. But then there's a lot of people too that fall into the Sabbath, right? So again, you don't really consciously put yourself in the Sabbath. You kind of just fall there from consciously feeling the wish fulfilled, impressing the subconscious. Then you fall into it. It's not something you tell yourself you're in or you manipulate yourself into being there. You just fall into it. What do you guys mean by who you're being in secret? I think I get it, but I like to hear it in your own words. Yeah, who you are in secret is not who you show the world, right? Like who you are in secret. The best way I can describe it is that almost everybody in society has a mask that they show the world. Maybe they go on social media and they tell everybody that they're extremely rich when in fact they're broke. Or maybe they go and tell everybody how they're doing great at here, they're doing great here, but internally their conversations are completely and utterly different. And oftentimes what you'll find is that people that are outwardly aggressive are usually inwardly very insecure. Somebody who is not actually doing good money wise will usually be very quiet about money or usually be very loud about money. And the people that are doing great about money are usually quiet about money on the outside. So the outside more or less most of the times is people act the way that they would love to be, and who they are in secret is most times the insecure, frightened, judgmental, scared individual that only these see in secret. Well, they think only they see it. Obviously, the father sees it, and that's what you're creating from. But that's the one that's in secret. Hi, Joseph. How do you stop reacting to unwanted circumstances or conversations with your SP when you're face to face? Hey, Steph, changing your state. Your state of consciousness will determine your reactions to life. If your reactions remain the same, that means your state of consciousness has changed the same. So you have to change your state of consciousness. Your state of consciousness can be changed by, with practice, you simply just choose it. But in the beginning, I found that it was helpful to think thoughts from it. It was helpful for me to visualize scenes and plan that it was done. It was very helpful for me to ask myself what would the feeling be like and catch the mood. These things all brought me into the state. But as you do it more and more and more, you realize these techniques aren't needed. You can simply decide. But I that's something that'll come down the line. Jamarian, Dark Night of the Soul. Yeah, I went through one of those. Mina, are you doing any Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations to help with your YouTube career? I actually am not. No, I am not, Mina. I know that it's already done. Like every time I think about it, I feel it so vividly. I know it's already mine. I'm not even remotely concerned. The funny thing is like I don't even feel like doing anything anymore. That's how I know I'm in it. Before is I got to do this, I got to figure this out. Now it's just like that's how I know. That's always my biggest sign is that I just know and I'm just chill. Doesn't matter. Hello. So basically, you change your self concept and then manifest it. Hi, Werehog. I didn't change my self concept. No, that would imply that I was doing affirmations and working on it. What I did is that I imagined that I was in the state, and the state then changes my identity. It changes anything that needs to happen with her. It changes everything. Right? The Father does the work, as Neville Goddard talks about. Besides feeling the wish fulfilled, there's nothing you can do to aid the realization of it. So that means then that we don't do anything. Our self concept changes all the time, right? I mean, this is why you have 10,000 different personalities. But you don't go in there and you don't control that you're behaving a certain way, that you're thinking a certain way, that you're feeling a certain you just go to the end and assume the state and everything automatically changes for you. When you feel the things come up from childhood, you have to fully shift and release those things first. Like when it comes up when you're in a state, you still have to work through that. I don't think they're like mutually exclusive mystical. This is a really good question. People often go, well, do I need to release this stuff before I manifest my person? No. Part of the bridge of incidences, the reason why this stuff's being brought up is because it's in harmony with the vision. And so it's because you're in the state that you're having this other stuff being brought up. So it's not detrimental to it. In fact, it's helpful for you. It's in the bridge of incidences for you. It's very interesting though. I had a conversation with somebody today and they're like, Neville never talks about limited beliefs. And I know that most people I'm talking about, like, are new to law, so I don't I understand their thinking on it, but it's like Neville tells you to persist. Would that not imply that you do have onshore beliefs? Because notice that any beliefs that you have that have no resistance, you manifest immediately. Which means then if he's telling you to persist, he's implying that there is some onshore beliefs that you're holding on to. Otherwise, there would be no point behind that. It's such a um, it's an interesting thing. My SP is serving as a Marine in Japan, struggling a bit to remain in the end. I'm currently in the US. Yeah, the demographics can be challenging. When I manifested my wife the second time, I was in Illinois and she was in Arizona, so I get that. It is a challenge. It still remains the same. It's just more of the mind giving reasons as to why, it can't happen, et cetera, et cetera. But it is, it's still the same thing. You just are in a loving relationship now. If it's hard for your mind to picture it, then that's why I'm a big fan of what would the feeling be like, because the feeling automatically puts me into the mood that I need to embody, which then has me thinking ideally. I'm in a similar situation with my SP and it's difficult. Things trigger me and it throws me off my positive state. I can tell you your YouTube career is taken off just based on my algorithm. My feed was all manifestation content randomly. You started popping up way more, which is why I'm here. And probably others. Well, thank you, Mina, for being a part of it. I appreciate you very much. I trust you to be mutually beneficial because I know that any desire I ever have is always mutually beneficial for everybody involved in it. Because that's the only way that I want manifestations to happen is when it's filled with integrity and it's mutually beneficial. Mystical. Well, thank you. I was wondering that. So the thing coming up are part of the bridge that we can you can get through it then. So the ones who may take 2 years for a business, even though they're in the state, they're going through the bridge to a success. Yep, absolutely. I mean, think of how many people that manifest success, and they all talk about their journey of going from being broke to being poor, and they talk about the uncomfortability they went through. It's like a very common thing, and the reason why is like every time that I've leveled up, or the times that I start believing in myself, guess what happens when I start speaking my truth? The old state of when Joseph was insecure and he was afraid of everything him saying, either having backlash or hurting somebody's feelings. Every time I said something that was true to me, I would almost feel like this. It's almost like this disempowerment or like this fear. Oh no, something's going to happen to me now, or something, or people are going to stop watching, something like this. And so what it is it's the old personality trying to bring me back into that state of, again, people pleasing, again, being true to what everybody else is doing and saying, instead of being true to myself and what I believe to be true. That's really the only test I ever put it through. This has been a huge breakthrough for me. And I do this with everything. My question always is, whenever I'm saying or doing something, do I love what it is that I'm doing? Do I love what it is that I'm saying? That's the only indicator I ever put it through. It's never there could be I could lose all of my subscribers and viewers. I would be completely content as long as I'm saying information that's in harmony with my heart, because I know that the viewers that are meant for me will flow back to me. But vice versa, I could have 100 billion viewers, but if I'm lying to myself, not being true to myself, I would never want that. It's way more important today for me to be who I am than it is for me to get anything outside. I think it's just a way better of living life, because I spent my whole life saying certain things, talking a certain way, trying to be a chameleon depending upon who I was around. So that way people would like me. And it just never felt good. Even if I got the, oh, hey, I like you, it was just like, it just never felt, I didn't like me because I wasn't being me. I've been manifesting commitment for a year. I've got movement, but it's like I'll get intrusive thoughts and images of how he used to act. I've done so much work, but his old images of him is there. He's very hot and cold. I know he's just reflecting my state of being, remaining in the state. Yep. Yep. At least you know, Noel, there is no him, right? And the him that does exist, he is just simply a fabrication of your imagination. I'm telling you, the more you do this stuff, you realize like why all the content creators are saying that this is a matrix, because it actually is. You don't get anything from this. It's the untrue beliefs, it's the addiction to the untrue beliefs that tells us, when I get this thing, this is what I want. And you feel this deep desire for it and this deep attachment to it. It's not what you want. What you want is, you want the state of being where you feel like you have the thing. That's what you want. You may not realize it. You the moment you have a desire, the tendency is to look outside for it to complete it. Or people will do porn, or they'll do drugs or alcohol to temporarily numb it. But what you're really looking for is, you're looking for that inner satisfaction that you now have that thing. You now are that way. That's what you want. This is why you hear every multimillionaire always talking about, it is who I became in the process, which is way more valuable than the money I have. What we want is a state of being. That's what you want. You desire. It's almost as if your I am is reminding you that this is within you now. That's what a desire is. It's going, hey, this is within you. I'd like to experience this. Okay. That's literally it. Because here's the thing, like, once you realize this, manifestations are a lot easier, because you realize you can't get anything outside of you. There's no attachment to anything outside of you, which then provides you with way better experiences. Which, by the way, the ego doesn't like. You probably, many of you that are listening will go, no, this is bullshit. I promise you, there's a reason why Alan Watts and every other teacher teaches this shit, is because it's the truth. The ego doesn't like it, and that's the resistance you're feeling to what it is that I'm saying. But the truth is that you don't get anything outside of you at all, ever. You never have, and you never will. It is an illusion to think that you get anything outside of you. You can't. You experience it with outside of you. You may enjoy the experience you have with outside of you, but it never comes from without you. Just like the state of being in a loving relationship isn't deemed by your person. Just like you being wealthy isn't determined upon your bank account. Your wealth is inherently within you now. And your desire to experience it is what's going to create wealth in your environment. Because again, You are all these things in which you embody, which you entertain, which you identify as, then appears. I'm still not convinced there's anything outside of me, but there's an appearance then of this thing popping up in your reality as a symbol of what you held internally. So the only place you have it is within you when you give it to yourself. This is the only place that you actually have something. Out here, it's a beautiful virtual reality game. It seems very nice. It seems very provocative. It brings you in. Your mind then tells you, I need this thing to be complete. I need this thing to be loved. I need this thing to be wealthy. And it's a lie. But that's why it's called an untrue belief. And this is why you hear continuously people say, I got this thing and I wasn't satisfied and etc. This is why you see multimillionaires and in their life, or people that seemingly have wonderful relationships and in their life. It doesn't do anything for you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So that's it. So that's what you're wanting, Noel. You're wanting to be in the state of being in a loving relationship. It has nothing to do with the guy that you identify with as being your person. What you really want is you want to be in the state of being in a loving relationship, which is within you now. And when we realize that everything is within us now, it breaks the addiction. It breaks the attachment to this outside stuff. It's no longer necessary. And then the beautiful thing is when you don't need it or no longer want it, it shows up because you have it internally. You're praying and feeling, believing that you now have it. And then the rest of the prayers, and it's added on to you. But by the time it's added on to you, it's no longer an addiction. You never heard anybody manifest their SP and be like, oh my God, it was a miracle. It was fucking crazy. They're like, no, it's cool because they were in the state. They gave it to themselves. They remained in the state. The state is what you want. It's not the thing. I guess the pressure I put on myself has been how many posts everything is fast for them always. I rarely see stories that take long compared to fast ones. So that's why I go back and forth at times. Yeah, I mean, it can take time to do some manifestations for sure. I mean, I still have some that take a little bit of time in the 3D to happen. I mean, obviously, I believe that the moment that you feel that it's done, it is done. And then, maybe the desire comes up again, you remind yourself that it's done and you feel as though you have it now, but there are times where it can take some time for sure. Ginny, I made it my SP back 4 times, but now we're on bad terms. Circumstances don't matter, but some days it's tough. Thanks for sharing your journey. You're welcome. That's awesome. Ginny, you should join this, it's free, but I need, like, people like yourself that have manifested their SP back, so then that way they can help some of the members because my schedule is pretty busy nowadays most of the time. So I make sure that I have like good people in there that are talking to people because we have hundreds of members now. It's growing very rapidly. We do 2 weekly calls too. I do calls on Thursday and Saturday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it's free to join. How to really stay in the wish fulfilled. It feels so content that an hour later that desire will come back and I'll feel that longing. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I relate to that. I used to have that too. No, it's just the same, like, it's the same thing. You just keep giving it to yourself. The more that you feel like you have it, the more that you embody that you have it, the less that you'll feel the need to desire it or wanna do anything for it. It really is. It's just because, like, you're having the times where you're in it, which he's showing up kind of hot, and then all of a sudden you'll be out of it, then he's showing up kinda cold. I know it's you because in your reality, there is nobody that has there's no secondary power. So I know what you're seeing is a result of what you're doing within yourself. It's there's no other way. That's not even up for debate. Affirmations, I'll entertain. I know undoubtedly that your state of being is what manifests your person a certain way. I undoubtedly. So if you're seeing this, that's exactly what is happening outside of you for sure. So just what would the feeling be like? That's why I like to keep it simple is because I notice when I imagine or I start making a mind thing, my mind will do what's called mind fuckery. I'm gonna put this on a t-shirt, by the way. My my buddy likes that a lot. But you'll start creating all these mind things and thinking about it and too many problems and etc. And then before you know it, you're not in the state, you're completely in the opposite state. I've been working on my SP for like 2 years. So much hate. That's how I know I've spent a ton of time doing it wrong, even though I started with Neville and it was kind of easier then. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, plus, like the longer stuff happens, like I noticed what the problem for me the last time is like, well, I know how to manifest. So I was starting to make it an ego thing. I know how to manifest. This shouldn't take me so long. I know how to do this. I shouldn't have to do this. And then I started like just creating more crap for myself, right? When it was just like fill the wish fulfilled. It's literally what would the feeling be like? Allow myself to imagine it, allow myself to catch the mood. That's it. I fall out of it, I put myself right back in it again. Like it literally is a simple process when I don't do the mind fuckery. It's a really easy process. I've manifested him from no contact. Now the one desires commitment. It's like a fork in the road. Yeah. The challenging part about it too is like when you have so many past circumstances, this is where the mind will keep coming up and say, well, no, remember this. And for 20 years, this has been happening. That was a challenge I had too. Like when the second time I was trying to manifest her, my mind would visualize like we were in a condo or something. Well, that was the location that the first time I manifested her where it took place. So my mind would be referencing it like a past thing instead of currently it's that way. It's how it used to be, which is obviously problematic. So I just stuck to what would the feeling be like? That to me was the solution. It helped a lot. Jimmy, perhaps you need to examine these loops you keep creating, same patterns over and over. The pattern is with you, break it. Yep. Adriana, what up, Adriana? I loved your collab with Matt. The more I practice, the deeper and easier it is to understand and relate to what the teacher. Yep. Yep. I can't wait for his video with you. I just saw it uploaded, but watch out for the live. Oh, did he upload it? Nice. Nice, nice. I thought he uploaded it earlier, to be honest. I didn't even check though. I'm like, if I'm being honest, also I feel like I want to get this specific house before I'm living with SP. So it's part of my bridge, I guess, since I created that. But it's like a desire to have that first. Mystical, you just brought up a really good point that I feel like is not talked about. But there's like a part of us, like the second time I was manifesting my wife back, she wasn't moving in, and when I checked it, I didn't want her to. That's the interesting thing that I feel like we'll deceive ourselves and tell ourselves that we want this shit, but then, like, if we're actually honest, there's other things that we want more. That's what's so funny. It's cool that you recognize that because that requires some inner awareness in order for you to know that. I was talking with my wife too about, like she's like, "Hey, if I come on and talk with you, can I talk about how I manifested you?" I'm like, "Sure, babe. Go for it. I don't ever quiet anybody. Share your opinion." And one of the cool things she said to me that most newbies I don't know this, but she was like, "Oh yeah, I was visualizing that you were obsessed with me and you were like all over me and stuff." And she goes, "It felt wrong at first because I was trying to force it." And I'm like, "It's crazy to me that you acknowledge that with me ever having a conversation about it." Because before she met me, she was watching Law of Assumption. She's like, "I knew on some level I created, but I couldn't figure out, like, it just never made sense to me." So she's like, "I just kind of whatever." And it's funny, the first time I met her, she had like some positive affirmations in her little apartment and stuff. Um, but then, she shows up and she's just like a master at manifesting, which is funny because it aligned with my assumption that she was manifesting me, which means that she had to be good at manifesting in order to do so. But she could tell when she was forcing it versus when she was surrendering to it. She's like, "It just felt so much better when I allowed it to be that way." She's like, "I could feel it, and I was having motor movements as a result of it." She's like, "I just knew it was done. I did it a few times in the morning, did it a few times at night. I knew it was done." And then she's like, "In a couple weeks, you reached out." He lives with me now, but I'm also stuck at the no commitment fork in the road. Certain things inside I'm realizing. Mystical, yes, unintentionally is holding things back. I've been there. Different versions of her. I don't know if that text was for me or if that was responding to a message that was I had a dream last night that he was with another girl. As I've been actually doing happy visuals of him and I experienced motor movements. That's awesome, Noel. I mean, to me, that's a really good sign that you're impressing your subconscious ideally. The fact that you're feeling motor movements is huge because you're feeling it real, hence why you're having a motor movement as a result of it. So I'm a big advocate of it. I've always known that when I get a motor movement, I felt it real. Like that's Neville talks about the importance of mood, motor movements several times. I agree with that. And then when you have unideal dreams, it really is a good thing. It's letting you know that like you're purging your subconscious and the new stuff's being accepted. Now I've been practicing the whole enchilada. Oh, that sounds so good. I want to have my wife make me enchiladas. She's Spanish, so she's fire at cooking Mexican food. The whole enchilada, the house, the relationship, kids, career, the whole enchilada. Really, John, I'm glad we can all relate. That's the coolest thing I noticed too about these lives is like people are so cool to each other and they're so encouraging, they're so loving. Like even when I'm part of the school community, it was kind of blah at first because no one was really participating. So people had questions and I was like making sure I could answer it all because I remember what it's like to manifest a person. I'm like, I don't want them to not have an answer to the question. But now we have people that are just like answering continuously. It's like, oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's so many people that are helping people. I will still sometimes like talk if the information given isn't helpful. Um, but for the most part, like I love that everyone's participating. She's always a different version. We're never the same moment to moment. Our anchor to the past keeps us locked into a very limited quantum window. Yeah. What is a motor movement? A motor movement, as Neville Goddard says it in one of his lectures, is that a tear comes to your eye, a smile comes to your face. Something that usually happens when you're inwardly moved, right? Like when you look at a beautiful sunset and you go, ah, and you can feel the inward movement from the beautiful thing. The intrusive thoughts and old imagery is the most annoying thing. Yep, that's what I'm telling you, Noel. Do the filling. I'm telling you. Just ask yourself, what would the feeling be like? You're in catch a mood, and then the mood will take care of your thoughts. It'll take care of your perspective. It'll take care of everything. I promise you. I promise you. It's all I did. What would the film be like? Takes practice to rewrite the neural pathways. We recommend energy clearing. Adrian, are you a new member or did you? Oh no, I think you were a part of one of the chats before. You just, um, I don't see you very often in the chats. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, it was cool. I'm actually my next collaboration is going to be with a guy that I didn't really even hear of until about a week ago. I was doing one of these membership things, and someone goes, "Hey, check out Inner Game." And so I went and checked out his channel. I'm like, "Holy fuck, this dude talks pretty much just like me." He was so like incredible, and like his understanding of the law, and he's read Eckhart Tolle like I have. I really love them. So I'm meeting up with him tomorrow. We're gonna do a collab, which is really cool. I loved his stuff, honestly. Yeah, his name is Inner Game. He's really good, really good. I could tell within the first like 30 seconds to listen to his video, he like understood the law. It was pretty crazy. Oh, I read all his books and listened to him, but don't remember this. Read all of his books. Mm, Let's see if I can find it. That's the beautiful thing about Neville. He just has so much shit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a look at it like later. I'll find the lecture. If you add me on that school thing, and I'll shoot you a link for it. Do you believe that sexual energy or seminal retention for men helps to manifest desires more strongly? I do not. I believe you can beat it all day long and you'll still manifest. Never heard of him. Yeah, he's fire. I'm kind of like you. I look for genuine only. Yeah, you get a vibe and hear someone speak. You can tell. Like the thing is the more that you're like on this journey, you can tell very quickly who knows what they're talking about, and who doesn't. You can just tell by little nuances. The inner game is amazing. You and him together is going to be a hell of a video. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I can't believe I never heard of him. You know, the funny thing is, I took like a 2 month hiatus, and the funny thing is like he started arising from that 2 months that I wasn't posting. He was posting a shit ton. He like blew up within those couple of months. Club with embodied estate, solid guy, very passionate like you. Oh, actually, yeah, gondola that actually might be a really good idea. Um, I do like embodied estate. I like embodied estate a lot. Would be cool to collab with him. I need to send you my success story, my dress, how I canceled my legal stuff. Still unfolding. I don't care. Within I'm dwelling in the favorable. I got your email coaching last year. Nice. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Adriana. That's so cool. Joseph, when you get a chance, look to revising death via Google. There's a girl who said she did it in like a week. What? That's actually pretty fire. Mystical, if I die before you, make sure that you revise me back, okay? Joseph, when you get a chance, I kept listening to your 2 videos on repeat when I needed the encouragement during the 3D legal stuff. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Adriana. It's so cool. I know I've helped a lot of people manifest their SP. I just don't always get, like Neville says, maybe 2 out of 10 people will say something, right? Like I don't hear most people saying it, but I do get a pretty good amount of stories. She's on Tumblr. Thank you, Joseph. You're welcome. I was thinking of reading his book since it's been like 8 months. Yeah, it's fire. I definitely would. I There's a couple of books I have on repeat. Like I'll listen to Neville Goddard's um Complete Reader. I listen to this like at least a couple like every like once every couple of months or something like that. I learn something new every time, and it just becomes so much easier for me to understand every time. At first it was so hard for me to comprehend. And the reason why is because there were so many beliefs. Like somebody could say something, and then if there's 80 people in the room, they're all going to hear something different. And the reason why is because every person has a different set of beliefs, and so those beliefs are going to filter what the individual is saying. I learned this in AA when I was speaking. I would speak in a room of 50 or 60 people, and about 30 or 40 different people will come up to me after because it's just like a polite thing to do. Even the person speaking was bad, you still came up there, right? Because you wanted to thank them for wanting to help people and for trying to add value and for, they just cared enough to come up and try to help people, like, stay sober. So you just went up there as a polite thing to do and said, "Hey, thanks so much for sharing." And but usually, like, you wouldn't go any further than that, right? Because, like, you don't wanna lie to them, but at the same time, you do wanna appreciate them. And people would say 30 or 40 different "Hey, I loved when you said this. Hey, I loved when you said this." A lot of the things from my perspective, I never even said, but they transmuted it all through their beliefs to hear whatever it is that they needed to hear. So as you ascend, as you have a new level of consciousness, everything makes more sense to you. What are your thoughts on Sammy and robotic affirming? All is one. I like that. I like that username. It's fire. And it's true. I am not a big fan of affirming personally. I did do it quite a bit the first time I manifested my wife back, and it made me very suicidal and really stressed me out and had me thinking about it continuously and had me looking for proof and validation continuously. It just really stressed me out. But now that I understand the point behind an affirmation, which is to embody the state, is to accept it and feel it as true now, affirmations would be fine. I could use that as a sign, as a technique that would allow myself to move into a state. I just simply go into the state now, but I could use it for what it's properly used for, which is to put me in the state. And it would, I'm sure, be helpful, but so would visualization, so would scripting, so would really anything I did because I can just choose to be in states now when I want to. But I don't recommend it for most people because, like, for most people, affirmations will stress them out. I think it's important though, like, if you're overthinking or if you're having a lot of unideal thoughts come up, it is important to affirm out of that. I do think that affirmations are wonderful for that. I've watched too many manifestation creators, and I know to click off when they mention robotic affirming or come and get a text by 11:30. Yep, that's that's exactly what to me robotic affirming is. It's the clickbait. It gets people that are new to the law to believe in to get it in 3 minutes, even though you've never done the law before, and just do this, which is what everybody wants. Is why Amazon does so well. You get your package tomorrow. Gurudez, do you believe in shifting to a new reality? You mentioned they can only do think what you think. So does that allude to the idea that your state of consciousness shifts you to said quantum potentials? Gurudez, the way that it works is it appears as though things are happening without you, but all that's changed is that you changed within. You change states within, and then the appearance that you project appears to change. As Neville says, all of creation is completed, right? It all exists now. As the Father said in the beginning, all of creation is complete and it was deemed good. Okay, so why can't I see all of creation outside of me? Because you only see what states of consciousness that you embody within you. You first identify and see yourself as wealthy, first inwardly, and then it appears as though it's happening without you, but it's not. You selected one of the many mansions, as Jesus talks about in the Bible. And so it appears to happen without you. But again, nothing happens without you. Everything happens within you. So yes, but Groods, from a point of view, one could say that it does appear as though you're in a different reality. Like I remember manifesting my wife back the second time, and a week or a couple of days prior, I was still in the wish fulfilled. They're still thinking about it, and then all of a sudden we're back in a relationship, and it's like, what the fuck? I remember just like a week ago, it didn't appear to be this way. Sup, King? Good to see you. What up, BD? Good to see you as well, my friend. Any advice anyone feeling like maybe they're not doing enough, even when knowing something's unfolding for me, it's already mine. I can't help but feel a bit of fear of the unknown with the 3D. Yeah, we all have that, right? Like that's the whole reason why I was affirming from the moment I woke up until I went to bed. It's like the same illusion. If you work a lot, you're going to become rich. It's a lie, obviously. So it's just part of an untrue belief that's saying that I need to do X, Y, and Z to earn this. I need to do X, Y, and Z to make this happen. Neither one of those are true. You can't do anything besides assume that you now have the thing or you now are that way. Anything else is an illusion. It's untrue. You can just be in the wish fulfilled. That's all you can do. So it's anytime that you're feeling that way, just let the thoughts go, observe them, let them go. If you feel like you're out of the wish fulfilled, put yourself back into it or imagine something real quick. Or if you're one of the few people I've ever met that finds affirmations extremely helpful, then do the affirmation for you to push you into the state. You mentioned being at a point where you felt suicidal when you were in that state. Did you feel like you couldn't live without your wife? How did you get yourself out of that state at your lowest? Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that what used to happen for me, I can still vividly remember it. I would be in that room right over there, and I would be crying, and I would be disassociating on the floor and going, "How the fuck did I do this again?" And man, it seems like a past lifetime ago. And I would have the gun in the drawer, and I'd be like, "Just end it. This has just happened so many fucking times. Your life is a disappointment." I even had times where it was like, "Hey, your dad did it. Just do it. Don't be a puss." Like, just crazy stuff happened. And what got me out of it was thankful at that time I knew enough of the law that I knew that there was nothing that was unideal outside of me. What I needed to do was change my inner. I needed to get my inner right, and I knew that I could get my inner right. I knew that I had a lot of challenges and I had a lot of unideal programming and I had a lot of abuse and different things that happened in my childhood that activated these um these experiences that I had, and I knew that I'd overcome them. I knew that I could. And also I always knew from a kid that I was supposed to do awesome things. I always knew that I wasn't like everybody else. I knew that from a very young age. And it was just a combination of those two things that I knew that I would be somebody and I knew that I could overcome it. And I knew that it was just states that I needed to overcome. And that was it. So I went to work and I studied Neville and I studied Neville and I studied Neville and I studied Neville. And then I tried it and then I'd fail. And then I studied Neville and then I tried it and then I failed. And I studied Neville and then I'd create more fuckery and then I'd fail. And then I'd revise it, and then I'd revise it, then I'd revise it. And then eventually I just became this person where I understood. As Neville talks about, I guess what happened is I woken out of my skull. I realized who I am. I realized how the law works. All the untrue beliefs of separation was removed. This doesn't mean that I don't desire anymore. That would be a lie to tell you that. I do, but I don't desire for long because the moment I desire, I just give it to myself because I realize that everything is happening within me. Everything is given to me from within me. And what I'm really desiring is the state of being that I want. It's not the thing. Whenever I get the thing, I'm always in the state of being. The thing is never enjoyable. I prefer it. I love it, but it's not the thing I'm wanting. That's part of the illusion of separation. You don't want the thing. You want the state. You want to experience yourself that way. You want to see your world from that state of view. That's what you want. Sammy never went through the journey, but tells others to affirm. This is a common thing. This is a common thing you'll see a lot of YouTubers share. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Laura. What are your thoughts on signs? I believe you can fall in the trap of just manifesting signs and not the actual manifestation. But what about when you are not looking? Uh, Look at it as a bridge of incidences, Laura. That would be my thing. I'm not really a big fan of signs. Because again, it's like ultimately what you're wanting is to be that person. That's like the goal. I noticed this from a very early in manifestation is the times that manifestations that happen for me, I do something different. And that thing I would do different is I would stop doing affirmations to get a thing. I would stop doing visualizations to get outside proof and validation. I stopped that. And I would somehow fall into it. I think I was like intuitively just led there. Thank the divine in me. But I was somehow intuitively led there to where I would do the work to become something to change me. And that's where I would get my manifestations extremely quickly every single time. The times that I was always, let me affirm and let me check the 3D, I would stay stuck. This is what happens to everybody. This is what I always tell everybody. The point behind this, anyways, is not for you to get something, it is for you to be something. You're feeling this way because you love it. And then you're no longer determined. Like that's why people have a hard time of feeling the way they want to feel, is because they're considering, like, is this going to change this person? Is this going to do this outside of me? Is this going to, their focus is outward, when it's, you're feeling the wish fulfilled because you love being that way. You love seeing the world that way. You love thinking that way. That's why you're doing it. And then when you do it for that, there is no resistance. Resistance implies that you're trying to do something that goes against the belief. You're not. You're simply feeling that you now have the thing that you desire. Ah, wonderful. It is that way. I love being this way. And then as a byproduct, you do manifest your outside reality. But again, whenever you get your manifestation, and all of you have related to this. This isn't something that I'm telling you, and it's like, hey, believe me, you've all experienced this. When you manifest something, you're never ecstatic about it. It just makes sense, and you appreciate it, and you like it, but it's never a crazy thing. I feel like the times that it feels the best, both emotionally and any other way, is when I'm imagining it to be the way that it is before I ever even get it outside of me. That's when I feel the love and I feel the gratitude, and I'm like, ah, this is wonderful. By the time that I embody that enough, the manifestation happens. It's not, I don't feel like that with the manifestation. I felt like that when I was imagining back in the day or yesterday or whenever it was. That's when I felt this wonderful experience. Never does it feel like that outside of me. Lately seeing SP's name everywhere and it's getting creepy. Yeah, it's that'll happen because you're affirming their name. So it's like when you're going to shop for a yellow car, you'll see a yellow car everywhere. It's just part of how it works. Perhaps tell yourself that is all simulation based on you will calm you down and you won't take things so seriously. Yep, that's facts. I agree with that completely. It is a simulation. This is why we don't do things to get things. We do things to become things, is because there is no outside reality. It's just a play. It's showing you, what are you holding as true in your consciousness? What are you feeling as true in your consciousness? And then there's these symbols that show you. Sammy can do robotic affirming because she isn't the kind of person who overthinks or naturally doubts like most people do. She doesn't have a lot of discomfort or resistance to thought changing. Yeah, that's a possibility. That could be a possibility for sure. I mean, she's manifesting what she's wanting to manifest. So in some way, shape, or form, she is doing the law, right? I mean, she seems pretty content. She does seem happy and such. I just don't think that affirming is a helpful thing to share with new people, in my experience. VDs, is it normal to feel that 3D is weird and not real, especially after assuming the wish fulfilled and wanting to feel and stay in the wish fulfilled? Yeah. Well, that's probably the truth. The experience you've ever had, the 3D isn't real. But that's also part of, like, when you're in the Sabbath, you're just gonna feel like inwardly you know something is a certain way and the external is the opposite. That's usually the opposite of how we feel. Usually the 3D is this way and we're in agreement with it internally, right? We're reactive to it. Whereas when you're in the Sabbath, you're inwardly sure it's a certain way, even though the 3D appears a different way. Thank you, Gondola. Yes, thank you, Gondola. All is one. I think it's the internal game. I think you're right. I'm excited to collab with him. I like this guy a lot. I'm very surprised that he's not a lot bigger. I've listened to a lot of content creators and, like, he's definitely one of the better ones in my opinion. Sam has a very different energy than the desperate people who look to her as quick fix without doing any of the work. Yeah. I was about to say that I never manifested anything when I wasn't thinking of it or manifesting it. Yep. You can't. It has to be you have to give it some permission in order for it to exist. Because life's you. It literally is you. That's my little mantra. I'm gonna put this on a shirt too. Life is you, so change you to change your life. Because it's just a symbol of what you're being internally. That's it. It's called rectiliar activation. Your consciousness seeks out data to confirm your inner beliefs. That makes sense. Yeah, honestly, I did not know that. Found it. Thank you. It's so cool. Look at you guys helping each other and loving each other. It's so cool. This is what I always envisioned is like people helping people. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. It just feels better too, when people are loving one another. How do you deal with just missing them? Peace, love. I like your name too. Dude, this is so cool. I love the experiences I get in the simulator. It's so freaking awesome. Peace, love. What a wonderful, wonderful username. I love that. How do you deal with just missing them? You can do a couple of things, peace, love. Sometimes I would do it to where I'm going, hey, my wife misses me so much. That's why I'm feeling this way. And then it would turn more into a love for them than it would be a missing. I would spin in some way of, oh, they love me. So my wife loves me so much. She's thinking about me so much. And I absolutely, that's why I'm feeling so much love, or I'm feeling her love because she loves me so much, etc. You can do whatever you want to with it, right? You can make it fun, make it in a way where it's mutually beneficial and it's in harmony with your vision. You can really kind of do whatever you want to with that. Do you think it's necessary to feel it real? I never really focused on the a byproduct of it is feeling it real, I found, but I never really focused on the do I believe this? Is it like I wasn't second guessing it, or I wasn't like overthinking or judging myself. I was just as best to my ability, just being in my imagination and just what would it feel like and allow myself to I wouldn't even really picture anything. I wasn't picturing something. I was just what would the feeling be like? And I allowed it to just sit there, almost like asking myself a question and becoming blank. And then a mood would find me. A mood would hit me. And I'm like, this is what the mood would feel like. And when you're in the mood, you just know, like when you come out of a really good prayer session. I've had this happen to me a few times. And Neville talks about this in a lecture. You're just brought to a place where you're like, it's done. You just know it's done. Like when you come out of the prayer, you're in the state. You can just tell by the feeling that you embodied. Do you think it's necessary to feel it real? I answered that. But as a byproduct of that, you will feel it real when you just do it like that. Love when you miss them. Tell yourself that you're only thinking of missing them because they're thinking of missing. Yeah. Yep. I feel like I've been in this desperation energy or MSP for a year. I don't think I've won a day where I didn't have some intrusive thought. Yeah, no, I don't think the intrusive thought is really problematic, right? It's more of the state that you're occupying. That's what's creating things, right? It's your state of being, because your state of being is what projects or appears to project things into your reality. So it, the thing I would suggest for you, Noel, is like join the community. It's free. We have 2 calls a week. We have people talking about continuously. Like it's so important to be around this information. We hear it repetitively all day long. I had to hear Neville 5 million times before I finally could interpret it what he was saying across the board. I remember what a lot of Neville would say would cause me a bunch of anxiety, honestly, because then we'd go, "Well, am I doing it right? Am I am I doing it the way that Neville's saying it? Oh no, he's talking about the golden rule. Does this include my wife?" I'd have all these little fears and shit that would come from reading Neville. It wasn't until way later that I realized Neville's golden rule had nothing to do with me. Even if his golden rule was he wasn't manifest somebody, that doesn't mean I can't. Hence why I did it. So there was a lot of little things that at first when I read Neville, I'm like, either I didn't understand it or it caused me fear. And just part of the process. But yeah, you gotta change your state. Join the membership thing. No, we have 2 calls a week, and just hearing this over and over and over again, if finally it'll click, and you're just literally gonna hear what I'm saying, like, people have heard me say it, sometimes they need to hear me say it 1,000 times before they understand the information I'm sharing. A lot of people get turned off by the stuff I'm sharing. Maybe it's not until 10 months later are they actually ready to hear what it is that I'm sharing. I can't tell you how many times people are like, "Oh, I couldn't understand what you were saying, and I thought it was untrue, and then I practiced it down the line because no other stuff worked, and then it worked." This isn't like 6 months later till I hear something from them, and I didn't know that they even had a problem with it, right? Because I get a lot of people see my information, so I don't know who when does it. They'll come back and be like, "Hey, I practiced it and it worked." Cool. I know it does. I mean, I did it. I'm just, whenever you're ready for it, whenever you take it in, it's like it hits you, your life will change. Like the stream people, VD, I appreciate you. Much love, my friend. Yeah, hit the stream, guys. Hit the likes. I want to keep doing these streams and stuff, right? But I got to make sure that people are actually like viewing it and checking this out and they're getting value out of this. Otherwise, I just got to go back to doing videos because that's what people are commenting, liking on, and such, and it's sharing it to the algorithm more. The internal game is awesome, and he also manifested his X pack. I did not know that he manifested his X pack. To be completely honest, that I heard somebody else say that, but I never watched a video on him manifesting this person back. To be completely honest with you. Yo, thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate you. Have you seen anything from Eric the Power of I Am? I watched a couple of his videos. I wasn't the biggest fan. I watched maybe a couple minutes of a couple of his videos. I just wasn't a big fan from what I did see. Why did you enjoy watching them? Irene, hello JJ. The collab was awesome. Thanks, Irene. I loved it. I'm hoping to have him on the podcast too. But I also feel more like a mental conviction. That's not like that happened in my 3D. What wins? Hello, the club was awesome. If I'm able to feel my desire, well, but I also feel more like a mental conviction that it's not likely to happen in my 3D. What wins? Well, your mental doesn't have a feeling. It's the feeling is like from what I've experienced, it's more of like in the body, right? I like Dr. Joe Dispenza's definition on it the most because I found it's been the most relatable with what I practice and been successful in. Your thoughts are for the mind. That's the language of your mind, and emotions is the language of your body. So like when I'm feeling that something is a certain way, it's like something that I feel in my bones. I don't know how to really describe it other than that, but it's just like a certainty that I get to after I imagine something and I can get a motor movement and I feel myself there. I just have a certainty. I feel it more in my being. So that's or what I would say is that your feeling is going to be the victor, like your actual feeling of how you feel. Your thoughts can be one way, and this is why, again, I talk about affirmations all the time. You can say whatever you want to, but as Neville says in the film is a secret, if your wish is in conflict with the film will be the victor. This is why his ladder exercise works. He'll have you imagine yourself climbing a ladder, feeling yourself on the ladder using your senses, and then the whole next day you're going to say, "I'm not going to climb a ladder." Shows you the power of affirmations. That's my point there. I'm not going to climb a ladder. I won't climb a ladder, but then you climb a ladder. Hey, Joseph, what up, Miss Blurry Face? Good evening to you. Hello, hello. Do you prefer affirmations or visualizations? Influence, I have found from my own personal experience, well, I don't do really either anymore, to be completely honest with you. Um, More now, I just realize, like, I just see so clearly that the simulation is an out picture of my state of being. And so if I desire something, I usually just put myself into the state. In that moment, I acknowledge the desires that I have. I pray and feel like I received it in the moment. That's really what I mostly do. I used to spend a lot of time in visualization. I used to spend a good amount of time of scripting. Those were a couple of my favorite ones. And before that, I spent a lot of time affirming, causing myself so much headache. If you guys could have seen my brain when I was affirming, oh, it was a fucking chaos. It's too bad it couldn't have been printed out on a piece of paper so I could have showed you guys. But I did do a lot of affirmations. Stressed me the fuck out. But if I were to pick one now, I like them both equally, because affirmations don't stress me out anymore. I know that the thought is to paint the picture of my end. That's the only point of the thought. It's not to do anything else. And then I know how to feel as though I now have it. I can produce a motor movement on command. So that's why affirmation is very productive for me. But I can also do the same with visualization, which is wonderful as well. I don't have a preference one or another. So, what do people suggest manifestation techniques? They put you in the state of lack. If you're doing a technique, you are aware you don't have it. So all is one. That's a great question. So the point behind techniques is to give yourself permission to go into the state that you want to be in. Hence why I don't use techniques and I manifest better than I ever have, is because I just move into the state. But I think Bashar said this, that techniques are permission slips, right? They're really just giving yourself permission to feel as though you are the way that you want to be now. Whenever even think about the thought of not being with him, I flinch a little. I know that level of desire is not healthy. I need to focus on internalizing wholeness within myself. Yeah, Noel, what you're really desiring is to acknowledge the love that you have within yourself and the loving relationship you have within yourself now. That's really what you're yearning for. It's not the thing. I can promise you, when you feel like you're in a loving relationship now, you won't be yearning. It's going to make sense to you, but you won't be yearning. It's just from your current state of consciousness. This is what I'm talking about, is that like when you're a certain state of consciousness and somebody else is in it, it sounds very confusing. Or to even picture yourself there is like kind of strange. When you catch yourself catching the mood of that state, your consciousness moves automatically. You'll be thinking from it. So if you're not thinking from it automatically now, practice getting into the state, practice moving, practice choosing your mood, practice thinking from it is another one that I've used in the past that I really like. Now that I'm the person, how does this person act? Well, if I had a couple $1,000,000, how would I see this? How would I feel here? That was helpful for me too. The courageous heart meditation is helping. Wonderful. As I've said, it's clicking more, and I have to let go of the old stories with SP forgiveness, key to this hash. Yeah, I agree, Adriana. I too had to release a lot of the old shit. Joseph, what do you think about initiating contact? Mass and SP and I talk and see each other here and there, but it's not all the time. Do you suggest I stay within and allow things to unfold whichever way? I mean, I suggest that you embody the state. One of the times, I reached out to my wife. The other time, she reached out to me. It's to me, if you're thinking of how it's going to happen, you're not in the state. Like I didn't even think of the fact that I was breaking no contact. I didn't even think of the fact that I was taking action. It just happened, right? Some people disagree and say, "No, no, no, I never will," and says you don't have to move a muscle and whatever. I think you reach a certain point in the law where you don't have even Neville Goddard as being the god for it, right? Like you trust in yourself. You know when you're in the state. You know when to take action. Neville is a beautiful teacher for it, but you have to understand that some of his belief systems are going to limit some of the things he said for you. Just like me, I'm not going to be perfect in everything that I say to you, right? A lot of the stuff I share is going to be gold, but a lot of it's going to be filtered through Joseph's personality on a degree. I shouldn't say a lot of it, but there's some of it that's going to be filtered through Joseph's own experiences, Joseph's own beliefs that may not come out 100% authentically. Or, well, it's coming out authentically to the best of my ability, but it's not going to come out 100%. This is the rule. Yes, a lot of the stuff I'm sharing is a gold mine and will help you if you practice a lot of it. There may be some areas though where it could be purified. Like Neville, back in one of his first books, talks about how there's outside people. He remedied this later in some of his other books by saying that there's only God. But there's a couple of things in some of his books where you can hear that he still had some untrue beliefs that he was sharing to the best of his ability. His intention obviously was to be helpful, but he purified his mind more and more as he came along. Same thing that that happened to me. So go by what you're thinking, but embody the state. And if you take action, awesome. If you don't take action, awesome. I don't think it's a clear black and white though. Brian Withers is big on high vibration and feeling good. He's a manifestation author on YouTube. Really? I haven't ever heard of him. Lately, I feel like I've been struggling with knowing that it's done, but still being in the state of waiting and knowing that it's not the best state to be since it's implying I don't have it now. Yeah. I mean, really, my go to is anytime I'm waiting, I'm looking for outside proof and validation. I'm lacking, I'm wanting, I'm needing. It's always a sign I need to go within. Because again, the only place I ever receive is within me. The only place I ever experience something is within me. The only place that I give myself anything is within me. This gives me nothing. It's a simulation. This shows me what I gave myself. This shows me what I experienced in consciousness. This shows me what I'm imagining and accepting to be true. This shows me what I'm feeling to be true. That's all this does. It's a simulation. So if I'm lacking, I'm wanting, I'm looking for proof and validation, I'm waiting. This implies give it to myself internally. I want to experience it. Cool. Experience it. How can I join the community? Being around surrounded by like-minded people sounds helpful considering I've been doing this completely alone. I feel that I was saying the other stream. I wish I had somebody like myself that understood how to manifest an SP at the time. I'm glad I didn't. Looking back, I needed this, but it's just a permission slip. You realize the technique doesn't work. It's just you thinking it does. Yep. Yeah, it's a placebo effect. Exactly. All is one. I have amazing movement with my SP now. The thing that helped me is faith that once I put my mind on something, I get it. But I've done a lot of inner work for 3 months. Yep. Noel, I just put the link in the description there. Ah, yes, letter experiment. It's so profound. You don't just repeat what Neville says, but you know when to correlate to what. You're welcome. Yeah, I take Neville's stuff and I just, with my own experience, like the way that I found that it relates, like all the stuff I'm saying is Neville. I mean, I know I'll have comments where it's like, no, it's not, or whatever it is. I mean, I know it is because I've had success with it. I know it is that way. Like, but again, I know that people's opinions don't really have anything to do with me. It's filtered through their own belief systems and their own practices, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. I know the law though. I know I'm telling it the way that Neville did, in my own experience at least. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off and probably actually get some pizza. I'm not even going to cap, but I appreciate you guys for sitting here and hanging out for an hour and 25 minutes. Much love to all of you. Thank you, everyone that left a like and commented and participated. I'm going to start doing this. Like, as long as I see the algorithm like is sending this to people, which it has been, I'm going to just keep doing this because I think it's cool to talk with you guys. It's cool to answer your guys' questions and to like hang out with you guys, which is cool. Because before my comments, I get to comment with you once, and here I get to like conversate with you for like hours, which is cool as shit. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good Sunday night. I will catch you probably in a day or two.